Welcome back to Channel England Football. My name's Gary, and finally Gareth Southgate has announced his 26-man squad. So what we're going to be doing is taking a quick look over that squad. I'm going to compare it against the squad I predicted Southgate was going to make about 2 to 3 weeks ago. And yeah, let's get my immediate reaction. Finally, today Southgate announces his squad. So it sounds like in the background that Southgate has obviously been having private conversations with these players. So some of these players, apart from 3 of them, I believe, knew they weren't going to be involved in the 26-man squad anyway. But then the other 3 who are now on the reserve list, so I believe it's Ollie Watkins, Jesse Lingard and Ward-Prowse, weren't certain until yesterday. Looking over the squad, obviously it's a fantastic squad. The big surprise is that he's decided to take 4 right backs. So here we've all been arguing about which 2 maximum 3 right backs he's going to take, and Southgate's just thought, to hell with it, I'm just going to take 4. Which actually, when you start to look at it in a little bit more detail, ends up being a really good decision. You know, all these players can play in different positions. They're quite versatile. So yeah, it's great. So the first thing I'm going to do is have a look at the squad I chose in regards to my predictions for Gareth Southgate's 26-man squad. So actually, I'm quite pleased. So I got quite close. So having a look, we had Pope, Pickford and Henderson in goal. And then it was Trent Alexander-Arnold, Walker, Maguire, Shaw, Trippier, Mings, Chilwell and Stones. And then I predicted Foden, Grealish, Mount, Rice, Henderson, Phillips, Bellingham, Saka, Lingard, Ward-Prowse, Calvert-Lewin, Kane, Sancho, Sterling and Rashford. Now obviously there's some there that aren't going, which I've already mentioned, and the main ones there that are Lingard and Ward-Prowse. And then obviously Pope dropped out for injury, and obviously at the time I wouldn't have known that, and I think we all know had he had been fit, he would have been the third goalkeeper within that list. As a result, it's Sam Johnston. So I would say, out of 26 players, not including the goalkeeper, because like I said, it was just unfortunate he got injured. But out of those 26, I would say I got 24, 24 right. So not a bad shout. Lingard, I feel, is quite unlucky. I mean, when you look at the squad now, so in replace of those 2, we've got Connor Cody coming in and Reece James. Reece James, I didn't predict was going to make Gareth Southgate's squad, neither Connor Cody. I'm glad they both have. If you have a look previously, my squad, I didn't have Reece James in my squad either, going back even further, but I did have Connor Cody. I thought we needed that. I thought he's brilliant as a centre-back. He's patriotic, likes to wear the shirt, so I'm glad he's included. I'm glad Reece James is included. He's finished the season even better. He's pushed himself on, had a great Champions League final, and like I said, it's just unfortunate for Pope. So Southgate's current 26-man squad is what I thought it would be. I think Lingard in particular counts himself quite unlucky, as does Ward-Prowse, because when you start to look at it, on the face of it, the squad actually looks very defensive. There's a lot of defenders in there now, given the fact that the 2 that I predicted would be going, Lingard and Ward-Prowse, have been dropped, if you like, for 2 defenders, so he's added even more defenders. So if I'm counting this right, that takes him up to about 9 or 10 defenders, which is huge. Usually it's around 6 or 7, maybe 8 at a push. So we've got an awful lot of defenders. But my first reaction to this squad is it's exciting, it's fantastic. I've just been listening to the Southgate press conference, which is the reason why I've delayed putting this video out. I think he's explained it, and he's explained it well. And like I said, when you start to think about it, it all makes perfect sense. You've got Kyle Walker, who can play left back. Kieran Trippier, who can play left back as well. You've got Kyle Walker, who can play centre half. Reece James has also played centre-half and in midfield. Trent Alexander-Arnold, obviously, everyone's been commenting about how he's not so good at the, defensively, but really good going forward, so he could maybe deployed further up the field. So all of these, yes, we have taken 4 right-backs, but each one of them does offer something different. Everyone's saying, and I think it's pretty clear that a lot is relying on Maguire's fitness, depending on what system we play. I think we'll have a good idea of that come tomorrow night, because I think, like I said in my last video, the system he will play tomorrow night will be the system that he anticipates will be available to him, Maguire being fit and all, for the Croatia game. So I think the squad's fantastic. We've got the exciting players in there. I'm really, really glad Bellingham's in there. He was, when I did predict Southgate's squad, he was the one that I nearly did pull out, because I did think Southgate would play it safer because Bellingham is a risk. He's a young lad. And that was one of I had the and ahs about including Greenwood in my prediction as well, but I didn't include him because he wasn't involved in previous squads. But I think Bellingham did enough in the previous England call-ups to warrant a place. And obviously, he's had a fantastic season. I think Greenwood, it was probably too little too late for him, even with the injury, I believe. I just think it's great that he's there. I think it's great that he did so well at the end of the season, but I just don't think he would have made it. I mean, maybe he would have got in above Saka. Who knows? But again, I think what Saka offers is that versatility. He can play around the pitch, play elsewhere. So it's a tough one whether, Greenwood would have got in this 26-man squad had he have been fit. I would suggest with Lingard being out as well, not included, I would suggest he probably wouldn't have been included, but I don't know. It's a difficult one because you'd almost think people were saying that Greenwood would be included for his goal scoring, but then if Greenwood wasn't included, everyone would have been almost certain that Ollie Watkins would have been, but he hasn't been. So I think it just shows you that he anticipates, and he probably will, that Kane will play every single game. It does leave us there. We're looking at the squad. We are short on goals. I did do a video again going back where I compared Sterling, Rashford, Sancho, Grealish, Foden, all these players, these key players out wide, and actually between them all, they don't have as many goals as what you maybe would think for 40 or 50 games a season. A lot of them only struggling to break double figures. So, the goals very much now are on Harry Kane. The fact that we've not taken Bamford or Ollie Watkins or Greenwood, because obviously I know he's not scored a huge amount this season, but he's a better finisher than a lot of these guys. So, it's a more pressure on Kane, but it's a pressure that Kane's used to anyway. And he does struggle with injury, but let's be honest, there's nothing carrying him from what we know of into these Euros, and it is only 9 games. So I think it's the right choice. It is a very, like I said, though, on the face of it, you think it's a very defensive squad, but at the same time, a lot of these defenders are quite attacking minded. I think where we do struggle though is in centre mid. A lot is now going to be relying on Henderson being fit. If you look at our central midfielders, yes, we've got options there, but if Henderson isn't in there and God forbid anything happens to Rice, we really are, in terms of experience and I think at the right time, we're struggling there, because then you're looking at Phillips, who, can he carry England? I'm not sure. I'm not sure he could. Bellingham is obviously incredibly young. Mount obviously could potentially, but it's a lot to put on him. He's his first big tournament. So I do think in the central midfield areas he's taking a gamble there by we're short, really. We are a little short. If Henderson isn't fitting and something happens to Rice, I see them as 2 very important players for England. They're going to be the people in the middle of the park with the experience and the calmness in the middle of the park. So I think, to be honest with you, not many people are going to be disappointed. I did tweet this morning that I thought social media was going to be quite toxic today, because there was loads of smoke, wasn't there, going on about Trent Alexander-Arnold not being included. So I thought we were just going to get, full of, I mean, it was on it last night. I thought Twitter was just going to be full of all this, negativity and things, but it ended up being, not too bad. I think everybody's relatively happy with this squad. I think it's a really good compromise for a few players. I think it's full of attacking talent, but then also defensive options as well. Like I said, I think what it does mean though is it does leave us a little bit short in the central midfield areas, particularly with Ward-Prowse and potentially even Lingard. He could play centrally. So with those 2 players dropping out in central midfield, I think we could be a little bit short. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. A tournament's only 9 games. So you've got to have a bit of luck with injuries and stuff like that. But I fully expect England to do really well with that squad. It's a fantastic squad, great opportunity for the lads. And come on, England, we've finally got there. Tomorrow night is obviously the first warm-up game. I did put on my other video as well. It'll be interesting to see whether we play some of these guys that are hanging around in the 33-man squad. It sounds like he will. It sounds like Lingard may get a game. That may come to bite him if Lingard has an absolute worldie tomorrow night, but let's see. The squad's the squad. They're the standby players. We know who the standby players are now if anyone gets injured. But yeah, bring on the Euros. Well done, Gareth Southgate. Yeah, can't wait. Thank you very much for joining, guys, and see you on the next video.